The conqueror, the lion, the champion is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not talking about myself, Mark Masai. I'm talking about our guest this evening, that is Collins Injera. He has been with us for the last about 1 hour, waiting to go and just tell us about his illustrious 17-year He's here to tell us about his 17 years of colorful, and you will understand why I'm calling this colorful career in international rugby. He hung his boots 4 months ago, and he has his reasons for that. He will tell us how life has transformed over the last 4 months and what this means for him and what else he is looking to get into. In fact, he's just come from Naivasha. He was golfing. And that just tells you, Jamaa, either he's made it, yani hakuna time ya kucheza golf, ama he's just spending some good time, getting into some good, occupying, positive activity. Ladies and gentlemen, the man I'm talking about here is an Olympian. He has been awarded the Order of the Grand Warrior of Kenya. He is, more importantly, a father of 3, a husband of 1, and Hall of Famer. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in Fiji not too long ago, and a few weeks later into the Hall of Fame in Melrose Sevens. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is just to give you perspective of the man that we are sitting with. He has made or tried 279 tries internationally. That's setting a record, being the 2nd highest scorer in the world. He's seated right next to me. Hajanilipa niseme haya yote. There's so much more I can say about his accolades and his achievements on the pitch of rugby. But first things first, Kolo, salimia wase.
Jambo, I think after such an introduction, I don't even know what to say.
No.
Jambo, hi guys.
Yes.
Excited to be here. Thanks for the invite.
No, thank you for honoring it. And Kolo, for the first time, allow me to call you Kolo. We're on first name basis, by the way, me and Kolo. So, for the first time in 23 years, we will not be in the Kenya Rugby Sevens. We've been relegated. This happened on May 21st after we lost to Canada 12-7. And this was in the London series. And I know he was watching because he tweeted, "Time to rebuild with proper structures." By the way, we had a good run up until your game against Canada. From how you were watching the game and the build-up, what went wrong?
I think I can't say it's that specific tournament that things went wrong. I think it's been a build-up over years, over time.
Yeah.
And if you're a keen rugby guy or a guy who really follows the sport, you could say probably we saw it coming.
Okay.
But we never actually did anything to stop it. I think it's one of those situations where you sweep things under the carpet, but then there's one day italipuka. And that's what happened. Of course, if you look at the London Sevens, like you said, things were going well. And I think the whole season, that's the best rugby we've played on that last tournament, when now we knew we were going to be relegated. Because you could see the boys passing, the ball was flowing, there was nice movement of the ball. Until that last game, I don't know clearly what happened, but I think if we had played the same way we were playing during those first 2-3 games that we played in that pool, we would have been in a good place. Because you could see the hunger, you could see the teamwork. But now in the last game, the teamwork kind of dropped a little bit. I don't know why. Probably if the players, maybe one person was looking for that moment of, I call it the Hombachi moment, the one that took us to the Olympic. Probably one player was looking for that, because there were instances where we could have passed the ball and scored, try at the corner, or just let the ball flow. And it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
And I think, like I said, it's something that has been building over the years.
Over time.
And that's why when you saw me tweeting, it's heartbreaking. It's a very sad thing that has happened to us, because that was the best in Kenya because Kenya Sevens is the one that gets all the exposure. We play all these continents. We play the top teams in the world. And for the young guys who are coming up, they've always dreamt of playing for Kenya Sevens. But now it has been robbed. It has been robbed of them.
So what does this mean for us in terms of not just losing that particular game and being relegated? what does that translate to now that we won't be in the sevens internationally?
It will be tough. I mean, what it means, we have to go through now the qualifying process. We have to qualify first of all through Africa. Then you go into the Challenger Qualifier Series. You win that, then now you go and play the pool games like the one Tonga did in London.
Yeah.
I think now you play the bottom 3 teams in the rugby series. And now the teams have been reduced to 12.
Yes.
And now you see that is a very tiresome, long process of getting back. But if we invest properly, if we get that exposure right, we can't just keep waiting for, I mean, 1 tournament or 2 tournaments a year, and so that we can prepare for that. I think now we have to really go back to the drawing board, go for all these satellite tournaments, the Amsterdam Sevens, the Roma Sevens, all those invitationals, the Dubai Invitational Sevens.
Yeah.
We have to send a team there.
Yeah.
And a team of young guys who now will develop them into the guys who will take us through all the way to the qualification of the series.
Almost seems like you're saying we should start on a clean slate. So if you were in charge, and I'll ask you about that, we start building a younger crew and a younger squad to prepare them to get. So basically unatuambia hatuta shine tena for a while.
No, to shine, we can start, because even the team that is there at the moment is of a very young age group.
Right.
The only thing that happened to them is that probably they never got the learnings from the senior guys, because most of the senior guys were out. So they never got that opportunity to learn from the senior guys. And you see, in a team, when you have a senior kind of setup, it helps with a lot of things. Number one, it helps the younger players come in comfortably, relax. They don't have that pressure of, I have to perform. And then you help them in understanding the game. You help them with the culture of the team. They understand the culture of the team. But now you see all these young guys coming in, out, and some of them have been in there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And even them, for now to be called senior guys, the likes of Oyo, who was the captain, Billy Odhiambo, who was there, they're those kind of, we call them, they were the senior guys at this time. But even them, they did not go through the proper system of becoming a senior guy.
So whose failure was that?
I think it's the transition, how the team was being transitioned.
Okay.
Honestly, for me, I think it's how we've handled the transition. Because yes, we've been maintaining a couple of guys, maybe 2, 3 guys who have been there. Like for me, I've been there for long. You maintain me, probably you maintained Amonde, you maintained probably the likes of Oscar Uma. But now, we always kept ignoring the link, the middle group, the link between the most senior guys and the younger guys. Every time they develop, somehow, something used to happen. Before a season, we get kicked out. Then they kick all those guys out. They bring in fresh guys who are, I'm not saying they're bad players. They're very talented. But because they just did a big run at the local circuit, or they did this, they just brought into the team and been told, go in. So suddenly, every year in the team, we are teaching passing, we are teaching basics, we are teaching tackling, we are teaching so many things. By the time you get it, it's towards the end of the season. Then those guys who we taught, at the beginning of the other season, they're not there again. Then they're being brought new players. Suddenly, every year, it's the same cycle and the same. As much as you say you're maintaining some crop of guys, it wasn't enough. We needed these middle group kind of guys who have been there in the team.
So besides the transition, what else do you mean or refer to when you tweeted, we need to rebuild the structure?
Number one, I think the culture at some point was really affected in the team. It disappeared because of the in, out, the movement that was coming in. And also, I think there was a time where players were pit against each other. The senior guys and the junior guys were pit against each other. So suddenly, you find there's a big rift. Because when guys who are in charge of the game that time come and tell the senior guys, the junior guys don't want you guys in the team because they say you are controlling them, you are doing this. Then they go ahead and tell the same junior guys. The senior guys are saying, you in the team, you don't listen, you don't do this. Suddenly there's a big rift. And you see, we didn't actually realize it. And I think until when we went for the Olympics, that's when one of the younger guys, who's I consider him very, very bold enough and very sane in mind, came to us and told us, hey, very simple, my guys, kwani kunaendaje mnaambia Chesco that sisi ndo tunakamwambia, do you mean si nyinyi ndo mna. That's when we realized, the coach at that time was pulling the team apart, thinking that
Ulisema coach mgani huyo?
Start mention names.
Oh.
Thinking that you are trying to you are building the team by making sure that you're building, of course you're building the junior guys, but then again, as much as you're doing that, you're splitting, the team is being split.
This was while you were actively there.
When I was still actively there.
So that particular
and that particular time we came to realize that what was happening. And see, when it was happening, guys discovered that it's happening.
Okay.
And suddenly now even everything wasn't working, because suddenly these junior guys have so much power that they don't even listen to what things are being said.
We'll get to the coach. Tatuambia tu. When a layman is watching, the performance has maybe just dipped and we've been relegated. A layman would say, we need to see heads roll. Is that an approach you would take if you were in charge?
I can't see heads
in the technical team and what have you.
Definitely, I think we really need to improve in terms of how we approach the game.
Yeah.
The game has changed, and I think we need to understand our Kenyan culture. We have players that are not fully equipped or fully skilled. Very few players have been fully skilled to handle such kind of competition. But I think if you look at the Kenyan scope, the typical Kenyan player is still struggling with his left pass. The typical Kenyan player is still struggling with his tackling. And the reason for that is that we started rugby late. Very few of our players started rugby at the age of 5 or 7. Very few. Now, probably it's now that they are coming up. But most of the guys who have been there are guys who started rugby at high school. That's late. That's too late. So by the time you even develop the skills, and you see the skills being taught in Kenya, it's very different. The skills Mwamba players will have is not the same skills Cabras players would have. It's not the same skills KCB players would have, because of the different approach. We don't have a standardization approach in how we play the game. Even on development level, you see teams like South Africa, because their development path is very clear. Australia, their development path is very clear. They know, even if a player is playing in the under-19s, the player knows this is the structure, I will find it when I go to the senior team. So that player will never struggle with structure.
Got you.
That player knows that I need to up my passing, my this, for me to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
So the only thing that will be changing from when he's young until he plays for the national team is the intensity. That's all that he needs to change, which is how he gyms, how he runs, how he communicates. The intensity is the one that changes. But in terms of structure and skills, there's no compromise. It's starting from uko chini, and it goes all the way up. So everybody understands, even if I want to play for Springboks, even if I want to play for the Wallabies, for the All Blacks, the structure is the same. You go to club rugby, structure is the same. The approach, probably the things, the tricks might be different, but the approach is the same. And you see that cuts across. But for us, it's very different, because you get players who come and say, my club miss Fanyangi Ivo.
Right. And if you're speaking as someone who can actually get the bigger picture, because you've been in the game, you understand it, and you've seen world best practice. Ukapewa kazi ya the main coach unaweza chukua?
I think to answer that question, I would say it's only fair to share the knowledge. And if I share the knowledge in a coach capacity, why not? Okay. If I share the knowledge in a consultancy capacity, I would do that. Because at the end of the day, I also want another player to have the same dream.
Right.
And the dream and to achieve the dream.
Okay.
And that's why I have kind of transitioned a bit into coaching. At the moment, I'm working with Mwamba Rugby on the upcoming 7 series. So for me, I really want to see those guys develop. And like you said, I've been in the game for long. I mean, I've gone through so many coaches. I've gone through local coaches. I've gone through international coaches. I've played for different invitational international teams with different coaches.
Yeah.
And I think I've gathered so much. I've gathered so much that I can share. And I think I kind of understand what needs to be done for a player to be able to achieve the goals that they set themselves. Because at the end of the day, most of our players, all you need to do is unlock here. Most of our Kenyan players, you unlock here, you're fine.
So Collins diplomatically answers he can give the advice, consultancy or whatnot, but why not even as a coach? So I want you to comment here as you're following this conversation online. Vincent Mumba says, hello guys, I'm watching from Thika, MKU. Thank you for that. And you've made a request. We'll take note of that. But I want people to talk about the issue of whether you'd want Collins Injera to coach the national sevens team, because he is already coaching. He's perhaps preparing for that responsibility on a national scale. So you tell us what you think. Tupeni Kuraeno. Tell us on the comment section of this as you follow online. So there is now a new leadership in terms of on a national scale. We have a new CS on sports. What would you tell him? He's probably listened to the part of structure and that you're willing to be coach. But what would you tell the CS to prioritize for rugby in this country?
Of course, I'll speak for rugby at the moment because that's where I'm vastly experienced.
For rugby.
I think all that's needed to be done is I think they should invest in proper structures. By structures, I mean the infrastructure, the fields, the gym. I know the union has a mandate to run the sport, but I think without the government's support, it will be very difficult. And as you know, at the moment, Kenya Rugby Union is really struggling with, I think, financial status. And now that we've been relegated as well, it's not going to get good unless now we find a person who has really decided to invest in it and grow with it. And I think the government, if the government does that, I think it's very key for them to be able to support, because now this will mean that even the corporates will come in. And you see, there is this thing that I think is a Kenyan culture that we are used to, that we reward people after they perform. You see, when the team goes and plays poorly, we learn at the airport, probably we're just met by our wives, our girlfriends, whoever, our Uber drivers. But then, when we win, the security dancers are there, the politicians are there. Tumeenda mpaka pale eka, breakfast, tumepewa hapo, sausages, bacon, nini. You enjoy, you have the good life. But now you see, it's not about that. I think if we invest in it, because that's what is needed. If the corporates or the government invest in it, even now is the right time. Come with this team from down. Build it. Because at the end of the day, I think if we do that, we'll be fine. Instead of just waiting, wamekuja, kila mtu apewe check yake ya 100 or 200, whatever it is. You are there posing, then after that, you're left wallowing huko nyuma. They don't even know how you use that money or what happened. But I think at the moment now, like I said, proper structures, that is part of it. Invest in the sport. Get a sponsor, because going to all these satellite tournaments, we will need sponsorship.
You're now in you have been in the public relations space, a space that I'm also in. You appreciate the value of such a brand, Rugby Sevens, Kenya Rugby Sevens, on an international stage. Speak to the corporates in terms of the value that it would bring to the team and to them as well in partnership. I wouldn't say they don't want to partner. I wouldn't say it's hard to convince them. So why aren't we seeing them hop onto such opportunities, even from the local level?
I think, to be honest, like you said, I'm a PR guy. And I love honesty. I'll be very honest. I think probably why some of the corporates are kind of shying away is because of our history. Of what has been happening, of the story they've heard about Kenya Rugby Union. And you see, I would say, it's a good thing, like you say, there's now new leadership in the kind of management of the sport as well. I mean, the sport in Kenya, and also in rugby union as well. We have that luxury. We've gotten new leaders on board. We have our new chairman, Sasha Mtai, who I think has the best interest of the game at heart. We have new directors in place. And I think if they get the trust back of the corporates, I know corporates can invest. I mean, even now, it's not that much, because I know we are not on the global scene. But if a corporate invests, you get the exposure, you get the brand exposure. Kenya Sevens is a big brand. We can't even sit back and lie about it. I think the only thing that happened at that time is the corporate, I think, lost trust with the team. And I think that is what really hurt us. And that's why people are pulling away. Every time you go ask for something, people are pulling away. And we were not helping ourselves because of the stories that were coming out. You hear money came in, has been used, you were. So you tell me which corporate would
want to
want to invest.
Yeah, because you're not sure it will get to you.
Even if they come with their own stringent or strict structures, there was a way that the guys who were in the leadership that time just used to find a way around it. But I think at the moment, this is the best time to do it. Get in, build with the team. By the time we get to the Challenger Series, the team has exposure, is taken care of. And it's good because as players, we never ask for much.
Yeah.
We just want to know your salaries will be paid, your medical is in check, very small things that will keep a player happy. Rather than a player having committed all his time there, but there's nothing coming out of it.
Yeah. Ben Wanasakami, he says to the question whether you should be given the job to coach the national team. And he says, yes, why not? Keep that coming. I want to encourage people to interact online and on the chat section here. We're following the YouTube link, the live YouTube link. And now I want to look at the highlights of your 17-year international career. You hung your boots January 24th, I believe. It's been 4 months.
Yeah.
What informed it? Because when I hear you speak about how it's taken time to get to relegation for the Kenya Rugby Sevens, it's as if you had seen things going wrong and you're like, I've had it with this. Is it also you just saying you're not going to deal anymore with such mediocrity in terms of management?
Part of it, yes. Of course, age was catching up.
Yeah, that's what you said. I mean, you're a PR guy. So you said you listened to your body.
Yes.
And you said it's time. But when someone else hears you talk about the management of the game here,
I'll be honest with you, it's true that also informed my decision in retiring. It's not an easy decision, Mark, let me just tell you. Retirement, it's never an easy decision.
Right.
I thought one day, I always told myself, and even told my fellow players that, one day I'll just wake up and I know it's time.
Yeah.
Yes, you wake up, you know it's time, but when you go do it, you can't do it. I think it's a decision I've held it for. I retired this year. I think I held it for 3 years.
Oh.
Before the Olympics, I knew it's going to be Olympics, then I retire. I went to the Olympics, the 2020 Olympics, I didn't retire. Came back home, nikaona hapa bado.
Yeah.
I'll be doing myself injustice because I'm still feeling, I'm still strong.
Right.
Nikasema, let me do one more World Cup Sevens. Nikasema, this one, kwanza it'd be perfect. I'll go to the World Cup Sevens. It will be my 4th World Cup in a row. Cape Town, South Africa, beautiful place to retire. You'll get your parade, the stadium, nini. Perfect. I get to SA, I'm still with the plan. Played the first game. Plan ikaanza kucrumble. Couldn't do it.
Yes.
SA tukamaliza, finished, came back home. I was contemplating. I was saying, okay, Collins, now is the time. Hakuna, there's nothing, there's no more sevens. World Cup isha. Sevens ni till Dubai. Just call it. Kukaa kidogo, I get a call up by the then 15th coach, Paul Odera. Asks me, do you want to play? Hey, why not? Tena nikaona, very beautiful plan.
Yeah.
Retire where you started, because I started off with the 15s. So nikasema, let me go to France. If I don't qualify, I will retire. If I qualify, I'll still have to wait for the World Cup. That's 1 more year to wait for the World Cup. You go to France, play first game, play second. Suddenly the dream is alive. We have the finals against Namibia. Nikasema, whatever happens in this game, after this,
done.
Perfect. International media is here. I've even said I'll press conference, sit there after the game, say, oh, I'm retiring from international rugby. Oh, finish the game. Namibia beat us, I think, 30-something nil. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't say, this is it. But then now I came back to Kenya. I rested for a bit. I got an opportunity to play for a team called Monaco Impis in the Dubai Invitational. I went there. I played kidogo, came back. That's when I got the call. I had gotten a call earlier to go to Fiji. But I didn't know Fiji was going to put me in the Walk of Fame, in the street, the Walk of Fame.
Yep.
I didn't know. Me, I just knew I'm attending a tournament as a guest. So I get to Fiji. It's this big thing from the airport. Everyone is there shouting. I actually felt like, this is it. This is the life now. And I'm getting it after probably on my end days of my career.
Yeah.
But then I get to Fiji. during the week, I'm being told, by the way, before the tournament, you're going to unveil your plaque on the Walk of Fame.
Yes.
And the town we are in is called Fiji Rugby Town. It's called Sigatoka. It's a rugby town. It's where now most of their big players come from. And it's proper rugby. There's no way you'll go into that town.
I think we have a picture of that showing right now.
So I go, I get there. Everybody in the streets knows you. Everybody at the hotel. It was crazy. So when I availed my plaque, I think when I came back home, after that, that's when I decided, I think Collins just call it. Because I think it's been too long. Now you've started being honored with such things. You can't be honored and still be there running around after the ball.
Yes.
And that's when I just jotted something down, came back home, posted.
Did you consult someone after you jotted it?
I have always been consulting.
So who did you ask first?
The first one I called my dad. I asked my dad. Of course, my wife knew I was going to do it because she also kept telling me, hey, you need to decide. If you let it go, we see if there are other opportunities that will come of it. Then, of course, I called my dad. I talked to my mom. I spoke to my bro. And I think those are the main guys, my wife, those are the main people that really knew what was going on.
Yeah.
After consulting, my dad told me, if that's what you feel and that's what you want, I mean, pia time inaenda.
Yeah.
You can't continue staying somewhere that you're not happy.
Yeah.
And you see, I'm saying happy not because I was that much frustrated. Ever in my whole career, I've never ever woken up, doubted myself going for training. Hakuna siku nilifungua blanketi hivi nikajiuliza, hey, Collins, is it a must when they training? But I started doing that. I started doing that because number one, the environment wasn't right.
Okay.
The environment was, as much as I psych myself at home, I get to the training, moods deep. Even the guys are unhappy. It was just a lot of things that was going on. And that's when I decided I think it's time for me to call it. Because now if I start doubting myself, I'll start becoming a negative impact, even not only to me, to my fellow teammates. And I couldn't do that.
Did anyone try to talk you out of it?
After I had announced. That's why I said, let me just announce it.
Who comes to mind having told you, hey, uko sure, bro? Anyone in the game? Any coaches?
Yeah, I think my teammates as well could not believe it. A coach, I'd say even Geoffrey Kimani was telling me, just do 2024, just do Paris.
Yeah.
Just do one, then you can now live in peace.
Yeah.
Just do one more Olympics. I think I'll be doing an injustice to the system because I won't be committed there. I'll just be doing it because I want to get this 2024 Paris thing. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, if I'm out there, because for me, when I'm out there, I compete.
Yeah.
And I go for it. I compete. Ukwe younger guy, ukwe elder guy, me, I go for competition. Yeah.
So your wife must have been happy, and the kids as well, 3 kids, because they'll have daddy there more. Go celebrate.
Yes, I think they're very happy. Wife, of course, was very happy.
Yeah.
Number one, because now I'll be at home. I'll be spending more time with the kids.
Yeah.
The kids were happy. Like I said, even now I'm doing school runs, things that I never used to do.
Yeah.
I take them to school in the morning. When I have time in the evening, I go and pick them. And it's something that they love doing. But my daughter actually never experienced that because she was there at the time when I was
away,
leaving at 5 a.m., coming back at 5, 6 when she's already back. So it was tough. But the 2 boys have really enjoyed it. I mean, school run every day in the morning with Daddy, they love it. And now I have more time, the family. Weekends, of course, most of my weekends were fully booked because it's either training or game. It was just rugby or I've traveled. But now at least I get time. I can be home on a Saturday, which sometimes I find it very difficult. You wake up on a Saturday, Allah, niko home.
What do people do on Saturdays at home?
Now you start finding things to do. Yeah.
So we'll talk about what you've gotten into and the stuff that you're doing. But are there moments, maybe even when you were watching this last game where we were relegated, that you were like, "Ama ningekaa tu nisaidie my boy"?
Definitely. I won't even lie. It was very tough. I was looking at the games, some of the games, not even the last tournament, throughout the season. I've been watching the games throughout the season. There are places where inafika unasema, ningebaki kidogo. But then again, that was expected.
Right.
After retirement, I think that was because you keep hanging on to that thing that you've let go. You keep thinking about it. You're always there thinking, ai, ningebaki, hii kitu ingefanyika kweli hivi. Sidhani, because ningekuwa nimekuwa mkali, ama ningekuwa nimesema hivi. And those moments are there. And sometimes it gets very frustrating when it happens. Because you keep knowing, because you know that these players can do actually better. But they're not doing what they needed to do. And you know probably it's because they didn't have any senior guys in the squad. Because you see some of the things that were happening, you know, if somebody, 2 or 3 senior guys were there, that wouldn't have happened like that. It would have been different. But then again, at the end of the day, you have to move on. The team has to
continue. 4 months on,
the game is bigger than any individual.
But 4 months on, you're like, it still made the right decision.
I think so, yeah. Yes.
This is Omoro says, former Shujas have done decent jobs as coaches for the Shujas. Ayimba and Simiu come to mind. If a legend like Injera wants the 7th job, he should get it. We would be lucky to have him. Alphonse Wadenya says, Collins signing the camera for his 200th try is the 2nd most watched Kenya-related video on the World Rugby channel. Ulikuwa umevuta nini, bro?
Adrenaline. Excitement.
So he remembers that moment, and it's there even in our highlight. Is it true though that there was you damaged some camera?
No,
there was this.
I can't say damaged. I think that was just Prokopanda, as they say it in Kenya. Even me, I was worried at first. And I think after signing it, played the game, finished the game, as I'm headed in the showers, I come out of it. I think one of my teammates comes and tell me, "Where, bro, umona social media namuza nini?" I go to my social media, I'm tagged everywhere. So ESPN, where? I have ruined, I don't know how many million pounds the camera was worth. And I was there like panicking. Mimi mtu hata sijalipwa mshahara hiyo. I've gone a couple of months without my salary. Naambiwa I have ruined. How will I pay for it? Even me, I was worried. But then again, I had to go outside. I had to go to the pitch side and look at that camera. But the camera was still there. It kept showing the same angle.
And no one followed through.
Even the game after continued with the same angle. And that's when I knew this is just
it was sensational
propaganda. I think guys just hyped it because it was something that has never been done before. And you see, for me, I did it on the lens of the camera. And I was meant to understand that tennis guys usually have like a shield in front of the camera where they sign. But for me, I went for the main lens like this one. I just wish I had a
hapana, usifanye hivyo. Kidogo budget iko chini, usiharibu kamera zetu. But so now looking at the highlights in your career, which coach would you say, oh jamaa alinishikilia mkono na akanijenga, and why?
I think for starters, I'd say the late Benjamin Ayimba. May the Lord rest his peace, rest his soul in peace. Because he's the one who gave me the opportunity. He's the one who plucked me. I say plucked because it's like he literally plucked me off Mwamba. I remember my first ever, how I knew about Benja. We were playing at Harlequins and he was seated on the sides of the stands. And I was kicking a conversion. Kicked it, pop, inside. Then Benja turns around and tells me, young Tuck, ukiendelea hivyo, utani join Kenya Sevens. And of course that time, you just know, probably he's just saying it. Suddenly a few weeks later, I get the call up, Kenya Sevens. Suddenly I'm there playing. Of course, first tour I didn't go. Now the next tour, he picked me. Young guy, I think he picked me and Biko Ademba. We were the only 2 young guys in that squad. Picked us, went on tour, gave me an opportunity in Hong Kong. I think I played like 2 games in Hong Kong, but I was very patient. That time it was Hong Kong and Adelaide. We traveled down to Adelaide. First game, I came in as a sub. There's a guy called Ted Omondi, now he's in France, used to play. I think he got injured, I came in. I touched the ball, I made a very solid run. We ended up losing that game to South Africa, I think 17-7 or something. It was very close. The next game, guess what Benja does? He starts me the game. He leads the starting lineup. Of course, me, I'm there changing room, changing my shoes. I just know this is another bench.
Bench.
Suddenly, I hear my name. I even ask, hey, Naanza. They told me, yeah, unaanza. And that's it. Since I started that game,
Yeah.
I have never missed a single game. Until, of course, now when we had issues around Mike Friday's time.
Yeah.
But I was starting every single game.
So clearly Mike Friday doesn't feature top of the list
No.
there.
He's like, I mean, when he came in, I think when he came in, that's when we started performing. We played a different kind of rugby.
Okay.
It was very physical, very aggressive. And I think that's where now things started becoming different. But I'd say, of course, Benja made an impact at the start of my career.
Yes.
And I'll always mention Benja because at the start of my career, he was there. And when we were hitting this big milestone of winning the one of the legs in the series, he was still the coach. And you see, for him, he'll always feature. But I'd say a coach who has really impacted my rugby knowledge, skill level, and game understanding is Paul True. I think the rugby brains that the guy had and the thinking of the future was close to none.
Right.
I mean, that guy is a rugby brain. He's a guy who really thinks, who really understands. You see, when he came in, he made me understand why we are doing certain things, not just doing.
Yeah.
You see, if you don't understand the why, you'll never understand this game. If you're just doing things because Umona other teams are doing, you'll never understand. But he came and told us the why. And you see, for him, I knew this guy is going to, for lack of a better word, he's going to koroga our brains.
Yes.
Because the first time he came for a meeting as a coach, he asked us, what do you guys want to do in this coming season? Everyone was there, oh, we want to win a series. You want to win a series. You want to win the series. Then after everyone had spoken, he asked us, I just have one simple question. How are you going to win the series if you've never even won one leg? And that's when I knew, hapa leo tumepata changamoto. This is not your usual guy.
Yeah.
This is a guy who would really go into your heads, get into your heads, and not just to mess you up, to get the best out of you, to make you think extra. Not just, he's not getting into your head so that he can frustrate you. And you see, the players who couldn't handle that fell off at that time. Many of them fell off. Some of them locked their brains. Every time they had Paul True, they just knew, oh, Shida.
Yeah.
Because he was a guy, ever in my career, I've never sat for a theory rugby class. Even you have ever heard of any theory rugby class? We used to sit for exams.
Wow.
Yeah. He sets an exam on rugby. Tomorrow morning, he tells us breakfast is at 7. Of course, all of you are waking up by around 6:30, preparing for breakfast. You meet downstairs, he tells you, you're going into the boardroom. Kuna exam. Now you're wondering, exam? Which exam? You get there, it's a rugby exam proper. And there are marks, 10 marks, 15 marks. Explain why this is this. You have to explain. He had like a small briefcase like this. He used to carry to small miniature persons. And guys used to really hate it because he meets you at the corridor. He doesn't care where you are. He opens it up. Pap. Anakwambia, panga hii penalty move. He tells you, because we have the moves in the team. So he tells you the name and tells you, do this.
Yeah.
Panga kila mtu mali anafaa kusimama. And you see that kind of challenge, I think made me as well start thinking outside the box. Understand why we are doing certain things. Understand that sometimes it's not about having an individual do things. It's about the team effort. As much as one guy probably will get the glory, but if you look at it, if you're scoring a try, look at it from the genesis. If a team scores a try against you, don't look at that last tackle that the guy made. That the guy missed, sorry. Don't look at that last tackle. Look at where the problem started. Was it a defensive structure? Was it a team setup structure?
Yeah.
So kind of things that we never thought of as we just used to play. We just see, hey, New Zealand wanafanyanga hivi, hata sisi wacha tuende kwa pitch, tusimame hivi tufanye. But you don't understand why.
Yeah.
Now he made us understand, before you do something, how the defense is. If you set up like this, if you see the defense setting up like this, just know that is the best side to go. Certain things. And you know, he made me think about so many things. So I would say he's really had an impact in my life.
And I'm sure you've thought of this because Omoro asks online. Please ask Injera why we kick our conversions so poorly.
I think I'd say that it comes down to coaching.
Yeah.
Kicking. Because at the end of the day, all these teams have a kicking coach. probably doesn't travel, but the players put time in it. There are some skills that you really have to put time. Kicking, throwing a line out, passing. Those are things that you need a skills coach. And you see, if you don't have the capacity to even have a skills coach, we have a coach that will be the head coach, will be the assistant coach, or you have an assistant coach who will be this. So we keep mixing issues. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. We've worked with this before. Yes, but now it needs more time because, like I told you, the Kenyan player caliber, the average 16-year-old Kenyan player is not the 16-year-old for South Africa. The 25-year-old Kenyan player is not the 25-year-old for South Africa. The 25-year-old in South Africa, huyo ni mtu amepitia so many things. Sisi will still be getting excited with meals. You get to Hong Kong, you see a buffet, unasema, wow, that's your life. You're just happy to get 3 meals a day. And you see, such things actually affect you.
Right.
They really do.
And there's a highlight here, then, and I believe you even have the pictures. And this was because you've mentioned the being inducted into the Hall of Fame in Fiji, and there was also, several weeks later, being inducted into the Hall of Fame in Melrose, in Scotland. Ulivaa suti kweli, ilikuwa safi ajabu. And these are some of the things. How are you feeling when, of course, you get the communication that this is going to happen? Na Mkenya pia anaweza uliza ulipata do kuna kakitu kanakuja na hii kitu ama?
I think for me, like you said, it feels nice when you get recognized for your contribution to the game. And it also feels extremely nice when it's outside there. It would feel great when it's Kenya. When in Kenya wanasema, hey, we are recognized, it would feel, because that's the country you'll be representing. You've played the game representing Kenya. You are there sweating, singing the national anthem, holding the badge. It's Kenya. It's not Fiji, it's not. But it also feels nice for just other people to recognize you.
Right.
And you see, I think it just shows that we really need to appreciate our people more.
Right.
If other people can see it, why are we so blind to see it? And it's not much. It's not even about the money. Kama huyo ameuliza, by the way hakuna do, sijui kama nasikia hakuna do. New recognition.
But it's a big deal.
It's a very big deal. It's something that you tabaki nayo. Even if you go, it will be there. You will hang it in your house. It will be there. Even your grandkids will know that was my grandfather. And you see, it's not much. Because even in Kenya, we just want kitu kidogo tu. Just isikue tu ati unaenda tu state house unapewa milioni yako or whatever it is they give you and it's done. There are so many ways you can do it. Even Nema, even if it's a street, even if it's a bench on what highway, imeandikwa Eliud Kipchoge bench. Hata kama ni ka monument, whatever it is, that is a way of appreciating your athletes. And you see what it does to athletes. It gives them psych. It gives them motivation. It makes them want to work hard. Even the young guys who are looking up to the guys who have already made it, they want to work hard as well. Even them, they want to be there. And appreciation of athletes is not just about money.
Would Collins Injera say he feels appreciated at home as he has? You've mentioned something. He's retired. He's had all these accolades. Do you feel appreciated by Kenya? I think the rugby fraternity has done it in terms of, if you look at the responses of how people say, oh, you did great. But you see, they've said it. There hasn't been any tangible kind of appreciation. Like, you see, like this one, you go to Fiji, there's a plaque on the streets, which will be there forever until maybe Fiji could drown in under something. You go to Melrose, it is there. And you see, the good thing about Melrose is because it's the birthplace of the Sevens game, where the Sevens game started. What an honor.
I mean, it's huge. In that Melrose town, my name will always be there. And of course, you come to Kenya, not only Collins Injera, but we have so many athletes. And we've seen the stories, and there are sad stories that have always come out. And it's not a nice thing. I think even if you appreciate them, give them a way of still giving back to the sport. And I'll use a very simple example. Keep the players in the industry. Keep the team, those guys who have achieved it in the industry. Because you'll need their knowledge. There's no need for a guy to retire na aende apotelee mbali. A guy who was top of his game. Akipotelea hivyo, there's nothing he's returning. Bring him back. Hata kama ni back office, coaching, there's development, there's refing, there are a lot of things that you can do.
Yeah.
Hata kama ni running of the management. Bring those guys back into the sport. Let them invest because they understand where the players are.
Right.
But what we always do as a nation, and I'm not talking about rugby.
Right.
As a nation, anaenda, cheers, mtufanyia poa, well done. You post your nini on social media, wanasema, great, umetusaidia sana. Then few years down the line, unasikia, kumbe huyu jamaa alikuwa anafanya hivi. Hata mwenyewe tumesikia stories anasema, nilipatiwa ido, nikatumia, but sikuwa na kitu kingine ya kufanya.
Yeah.
You see? Because he's a guy who had invested all his years in that. So where do you want him to go if not continue with the kind of process? So I'd say as much as we want to be appreciated, we can also still bring the guys back into the sports. If you're a rally driver, go back into that sport. Let the federation give you opportunities in that area.
Yeah.
And you see, when you have people who understand the game to run it.
Because you described that feeling in Fiji when you were getting the Hall of Fame. Umai feel hivyo Kenya in line with your work and appreciation?
To be honest, no. And this is maybe serious. I think Fiji was such an eye-opener. I never knew. I've had stories. I've had stories on tour from the Fijian boys because we talk a lot. I've had stories of how you are very big in Fiji. Some of them even they come on tour the first time. That's the first thing they want to do is take a photo so that they can send back to the village. And I never understood when they say back to the village, because for them it's not estates. They call them villages. So you see, they know their rugby and they know their people. They still have that community thing. They have these community halls where they go and sit, watch the game, eat together, have all those traditional things. They have their traditional drink they drink, and they have it there as a group. And I'm saying it's an eye opener because the moment I stepped my foot on Fiji soil, it was crazy. From the pilot on the plane, who actually announced I'm in the plane, to the immigration, I think I used where their prime minister uses, because I never saw, I was just taken from the plane door, straight to the cargo, straight to the car, hotel. And it was an amazing feeling.
Right.
I would really tell you it was an amazing feeling. And now everybody knows you, everybody understands, and it was...
Made all those years of sacrifice worth it.
It was worth it.
Unfortunately, it wasn't home. But Macreen Magoya says, if this counts for something, I am proud of Collins. And I say, our family. And I appreciate all the effort that you put into this sport in the country. And I believe it's not yet... Yeah, it's a? Mwamba, yes. And it's not Atameka hiyo amefanya hivi. And it's not going to be lost in the minds of many what you have done and contribution on the international scene. Yeah. But you've also contributed quite controversial developments on the international scene. Ukakula headlines, kadha wa kadha. You know, Kenya 7 Stars boycott training over pay dispute ilikuwa 2019. Picha yako iko hapo
Very well.
Nenda nayo ball, you know, you're going to make a try. At 2013, there was that issue under Mike Friday where he kicked you out of the team because there was some conflict of interest, it was said. With the Mwamba contract. Then there was that time, I believe it was 2019, where the team blocked the Tembea Kenya, Magical Kenya, you know, branding. When do you ringleader your story?
Gani?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Kuna story mo buli ringleader.
Mbaya.
So, do you have regrets, first of all, of how you made those headlines? What one is a semanzu?
I don't have any regrets. To be honest, I don't have regrets because I think the 2013 one that you say,
Mike Friday,
the Mike Friday time, that was purely not me. It was a war between my club chairman and the union guys. Because at that time, the club, I think, wanted me to play a game, and they were complaining that I'm not showing up for club training. And I still have to play. There was a very crucial game that was coming up. I don't know if we were playing KCB or something. It was a very crucial game. And the club said, no, these players, we won't release them. And I think it was me, Ombachi, and at that time, Horace Otieno. We were 3 players from Mwamba. So the club writes to us and tells us, you've been suspended from the club. And they tell us, if you have been suspended from the club, you cannot show your face at any rugby grounds, be it the national team, be it club, until you've resolved this issue.
Yeah.
So you see, when that email came, national team were busy preparing for the Hong Kong leg. And at that time, of course, like I told you, I'm very straightforward. I've always been the guy championing players, welfare, player rights, and all that. And when the email came, threats came from the union, as always, because they are bigger than the club. So threats zikakuja, oh, if you guys don't show up, you're kicked out of the team. You won't be part of this team anymore. And me, honestly, I don't operate too well with threats. To be honest, I'm just being honest.
Yes.
So for me, I decided I'm not going until you guys solve it. And I remember I even wrote, that time the chairman was Mwangi Mde, who is apparently also a Mwamba guy, who is not apparently, who is a proper Mwamba guy.
Yeah.
But now he had to do it because the coach, the national team coach, was demanding us to be back into. So Mwangi also had to act as chairman. Chairman club that time was, I think, George Mai. And him, he also had to act as club chairman. And you see, it was a war that we were caught
In between. Yep.
And I was caught in between even more, because now me, I made my personal decision. I said, until you guys solve this, I am not showing up for any training, be it club, be it Mwamba. But now my other two players went ahead and showed up for the national team. Then they went on tour. So for me, I didn't show up for any of the training. And I remember writing the message to the then KRU chairman and told him, I don't want, and even I laugh at this message, I don't want to be used as a ping pong ball between you two. So I can't be going here, getting kicked out. So you decide what is going to happen.
Right.
And that's why I did not go for that Hong Kong series.
Yeah.
But I think it was solved after. I think Edward Rom was the guy who stepped in, negotiated, and it was solved. And then yes, the next Nini, I was part of the team.
You were part of the team.
And that was it. Now come to 2019, you've asked me a very serious question. Was I the ringleader? I'd say no.
This is on which one? The pay or the blocking of the jerseys that had the magical cane?
The pay.
There was a pay issue, said to Mr. Hamilton, Sydney Legs for the World Series over a pay dispute. This was 2019. That was later after, this was, because we spoke earlier, you said this was after that controversy about blocking.
This one, the blocking one was at the end of the series.
Yeah.
The blocking one was in London-Paris series, legs. But the Adelaide, what was it? Australia. The Australian leg, that was before, because Australia usually comes at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And you see that time, we just wanted, sorry, that was after. That was after. In fact, it was, the whole season had gone after blocking. Now we were into the new season, when now the team was transitioning. And you see that one, we were just championing player rights and player welfare. Basically, what happened, number one, our contracts depreciated highly, which we understood. But we kept telling them it can't go all the way. And also, the disparity can't be that huge. You can't say you're paying 3-4 guys this kind of, let me use figures so that probably I can bring into context. You're paying them 200K, and then guys who are getting maybe 120, you're giving them now 70 or 80K. It can't work. And I think that's the time we were really discussing about how to handle such dispute. And we were telling them, why don't you just bring everyone at least level here, 150 or something, everyone, or 130.
Wow.
They came back with an argument, oh, these are still young guys, they're coming in the team. And there was a very, I find it very, for lack of a better word, very stupid argument. Because when you say, this is a guy ametoka high school, haezi lipa 130K. But he deserves it.
Yeah, he works hard.
You see, that is the kind of mentality that was then at that time, of the guy who were running the union. They had that mentality, that this is the guy who kimpatii pesa, oh, atenda haribu kwa hizi clubs, I won't mention clubs, atenda haribu huku, aende hapa hakunywe, ata haribu. Then we tell them, then why don't you provide those financial advisors to come? It's a team. We need psychiatry, we need the, what are they called, team psychologists, we need financial advisors. Bring them in. Then now if a player does that, then that is his own choice. It's not that you didn't give him a chance to be doing that. Now imagine that's the kind of thinking we were fighting. A guy who comes to you and tell you, mtu mdogo hivi mbona alipe 130?
Yeah.
What kind of thinking is that?
Meanwhile,
and even that is not even a fraction of what a 19-year-old out there is getting.
Yeah.
So we started at that. Then we continued having conversation. Then they saw it's not going anywhere. Threats came, as usual. And you know, I've been in this thing for long. I know it's threat after threat after threat. So when threats come, now the young guys back off.
Yeah.
Because
They're
for them, they
intimidated.
really want to represent which I understand. They're young guys, they want to play for the nation.
Yeah.
They want to play for the country. So they back off. So when they back off, what have they done? They've split into two. It's divide and
Rule.
Divide and rule. So they've been using that tactic over and over. And that's what I'm telling you. It's not something that it has started kitambo.
Yeah.
So when they did that at that time, as the senior guys that time, we decided to stay out. Tukasema, if this is going to happen, we are staying out. Then I think they went for one leg. Hey, wakarealize, hey, hapa nino.
They need the...
Inoma. They called us back in. Wakasema, let's negotiate. Tukawambia sawa. Now we go to negotiation. I think we met at Java Hurlingham. They come and tell us, now, how many are you? Oh, mko 4, 5. Okay, nyinyi tutawalipa hivi. But wale, all you need to do is convince them to take that contract. Because then they had already gone on tour.
Right.
So they were on like 80 or 70, I think. That is gross. Bado ya kata. There was like somewhere there. So we asked them, but that will be very wrong.
Yeah.
As much as we would have wanted to take it, because now that will be selfish interest. We would have taken it. Nothing was stopping us. Because all we needed to do is come back to the team to say, my guys, to push too.
Yeah.
That's what they told us. To ambie too, we push. If we play well, we'll get sponsorship. But now us will be earning differently. But now the decision wasn't sitting right with the guys who were there.
Yeah.
And tukasema, this thing, if we go on with this, at some point somebody will notice. At some point, payslip itatoka, italeak, something will happen, and these players will be very mad at us.
Yeah, you broke
if
their
we take
trust.
this thing, we broke their trust. Now, after we finish that meeting, so wakasema they are going to talk, they'll get back to us. They go, kumbe now they go tell the other guys who were in the team that time, masini wamesema hao wanataka kulipwa ido, na si tukawashow, haiwezekani.
So they were putting you against each other again.
Bas, now you see. Suddenly the juniors were thinking, those guys walikuwa wanajitetea. Hao wakasema sisi tuendelee tu, kama tutatoboa tutoboe. And you see, we stayed the whole season without going. And that is the time where we were nearly got relegated. I don't know if you remember. We nearly got relegated that time. And it was simply because of that. And all you're asking them is, if there's no money, just at least raise their nini. We agree, yetu yache ishuke chini. But put it somewhere. But they kept arguing, why is this guy, these are young guys, you can't give them this kind of money.
Yeah. And then there was the other one. It made headlines. Ulikuwa kote. Block your Magical Kenya jersey. The branding here. Again, kila mtu akasema ni.
Now that one I wasn't the ringleader. That one I would say it with confidence.
But wewe mwenyewe uli block pia.
Standards, ni lazima nifuate kile team inafanya. I've been always a guy when nasema tufanye hivi. So why this time mimi nikiambiwa mimi nikatae?
Roho juu. And what was the story there? Mbona mli block?
The story was actually, it's very sad because Magical Kenya, I think that was the tourism board at that time.
Yes.
I think Balala was the minister.
And Balala was the minister, yeah.
Came in as the Magical Kenya team. Wakatuambia, you're going to sponsor your last 2 legs. All we need you guys to do is wear our Magical Kenya brand on your tops. Hapa tu mbele. Because that season I think we didn't have a sponsor.
Yeah.
So wakasema, for these last 2 legs, only London and France wear Magical Kenya. Each of you is going to get 100K. But this was 100K. I won't even lie. It was each of you is going to get 100,000 Kenya shillings. And hiyo pesa mtapata hata kabla mtoke. Of course players hapo, hey, inaenda wapi? Wakasema, give us your account numbers. If that's what you're comfortable with, tuma. Sisi nani? Tumeandika account numbers imeenda na watu Magical Kenya. Magical Kenya wametuambia, before even you leave, I remember we met at the Union grounds after training.
Yeah. Before
even you leave for London, ding, the money, utakuwa unasikia kwa ukuta, tasema ukienda kuangalia ukuta utaona ukuta ina smile. Ikafika time ya kutravel. Hey. Watu kwa airport wanaulizana, yako imeingia? Hapana. Anyway, maybe because ni weekend, kesho si ni Monday tunafika London, maybe itakuwa ina check in by Monday jioni.
Yeah.
We travel, we get to London, Monday jioni, nothing. Tuesday jioni, nothing. Wednesday, we decide to inquire. Plus akuuliza the manager that time, niaje, hii do kwani? Manager akasema, hawa tu ni kama bado hajatuma hiyo do. But tulipeana account numbers. You see? Players wakasema sawa. So, by when? Wakasema, by the time hata mnacheza hii tona, pesa itakuwa imeingia. We went on, played Saturday, played Sunday, finished. Sunday, now guys wako bado kwa room, now we are debriefing nini.
Yeah.
Guys asked, ni aje, kwani ido Magical Kenya wajatuma? Bado wajatuma. But nimekuwa assured by the time, because imetumwa Friday, wanasema ni working days. Unaona hiyo uongo. Ati imetumwa Friday because Saturday, Sunday ni weekend.
Yeah.
Ita reflect
Monday.
So Monday, before even train ifike Paris, because we were going with a train from London to Paris.
Yeah.
Before train ifike Paris, do itakuwa kwa account. We go all the way kwa train, tukafika tu Paris, getting to the hotel. I think kila player amekimbia kwa wifi. Password, wameingia, kila mtu ameingia.
Yeah.
Kila mtu anangoja kuona some good news.
Yeah.
Hakuna good news hiyo Monday. Tuesday, same thing. Wednesday, players decide to call for a meeting. Wakauliza, and like I told you, the problem is when they were doing that, lying to us, they thought that some of the players don't have direct contacts with guys at Magical Kenya. And some of them had. Wakauliza, kwani do hamjatuma? Guess what we were told? Hamjapata? Tukasema hapana. Kwani tulipeana wrong account numbers? Then the guy said, hapana. The union guys then came back and followed up. Wakasema, no need for you to send money in different accounts. Just send it to KRU. KRU will do what? Will disperse the money to your accounts. And that is what happened actually. At your door, Naskedi Tumo even before we went to London. But now, where the issue was the communication.
Right.
The TM, I'm sure, knew, but he was trying to manage the whole situation. And you see, it was very sad because it was as simple as telling guys, money was released, but it went into our account, but there was, later on, that's when we hear, ati kulikuwa sijui na overdraft, sijui pesa ikamezwa kwanza, now they were waiting for some money that didn't come in. Just tell us that. Tell us the money was sent.
Yeah.
Instead of making it look like the sponsor
has not
that
sent.
Is the bad person. So they put Magical Kenya in a bad place.
Yeah.
So when guys knew the money had been sent, now they still ask the team manager, mko sure ni sponsor? Yes, sponsor ndo hajatuma do. And players then hapo kwa hiyo meeting wakasema, by the way, kama ni sponsor hakuna haja tumvae, kama alikuwa ametudanganya tuvae tu ndo tukifika. And because there was a culture of it happening at the end of the season, you do something you think you're going to be paid, because mkimaliza season your contract is done.
Yes.
So there's no one to follow up.
Right.
You can't keep following up until probably if you make it to the next squad, that's when you can follow up. If you don't make it, there's some players who they haven't been paid by the union. There's how many years bonuses or salaries, but wanna die.
Right.
And you see, because of that culture that has been happening, players were very, nasema wako rada sana na this
skeptical. Yeah.
So wakasema, if it's not gonna be be a sponsor, but then kama atatuma by nini tena hakuna haja tuendelee kufanya nini kumva. Of course team manager akacheka, and I think I was the only guy nikaona mkakauliza, my guys, mko sure mtaka kwenda down this road? Najua mimi nakuanga part of vitu,
lakini
hii mkienda hii ni noma. Wakasema yedo uko na sisi. Nikasema mnajuanga mimi ni mtu wa team.
Yes,
I'll go with what the team says,
right.
Because I believe a team is not pamoja, nothing will happen. And that's what happened. We go to the game, fast forward to the game, Saturday morning, no money as you were promised. First game, changing room. By this because nafungiwa changing room. We were given our jerseys hapo changing room, because I think the team manager knew that akitupatia before tutafunga. But akitupatia, but the moment you were given jerseys like this, players wakaanza tu red tape, yeah. red tape. Ikawekwa. Played the first game with the blocked sponsor. No one noticed.
Yeah.
Because New Zealand hammered us thoroughly. 30 something, I think, 5. No one noticed we had blocked the sponsor. We go on to the next game. It was Fiji. It was a tough pool. We were playing Fiji. Fiji that time was Fiji. Fiji was going to win the series.
Yep.
They were on like a 30-something winning streak of games.
Definitely the underdogs.
We go there, underdogs. We just play. We end up winning 24 sijui 7, beating Fiji convincingly. Nani ameitwa interview ya CNN? Mimi. Nimeenda nimesimama hapo. How did it feel? Oh, it felt nice, blah blah blah. Tumeongea. Hey, that's when I think somebody at the Magical Kenya realized, where is our logo? So they asked, mbona CNN imetublock? And it wasn't CNN. It was a red tape, which was ilikuwa blend smart sana na jazzy. You couldn't even notice. Yeah, so it happened. And going to the changing room, I remember calls now started coming in. Pap, to the captain then, who was Andrew Amonde. Mbona mmefanya hivi? Even me ended up receiving a call from Chris Diaz, who was still with Magical Kenya at that time. Oh, why has this happened? Tukamwambia, but you were told you're the guys who didn't send the money. What do you mean? Akakata simu. Now zikaanza. Pap. Calls everywhere. Twitter, social media imewaka moto. Threats are coming in left, right and center. Then I think wakasamon the then coach, which was Innocent. Wakamuita. So Innocent akakuja, I think he asked us, guys, kameumana. So the next game wamesema lazima mtoe. Plus akasema, kashaumana. Na hakuna bado do, na hatuko sure do tunaenda kupata. Players wakasema vinge tumeanza tutamaliza. We butchered that tournament mpaka mwisho. We ended up, I think tulikuwa namba ngapi ya tournament.
Right.
Yeah, but now when we came home, suddenly me I'm just hearing from different quarters. You know, rugby is a very small group.
Yeah.
Kolo alikuwa anafanya nini? We ended up being called for a meeting
by
to
Balala.
Explain by the then board and the people who were there to explain what was happening. And you see, when they called us, they didn't call the coach at that time. So the coach mali alikuwa Innocent, yeye pia alisikia baadaye ati players wameitwa huko hearing. So even the young guys now, when they're being called to go into that grilling session, because we were told because we asked for, we told them, if you're calling us for a hearing, we need to have a representative.
Yeah.
So either we get our lawyer or suddenly we got somebody. But now, the younger guys at that time, when they were being called for the grilling session, guess who they were saying, aingia now? Mimi. Now I end up, nikaingia one of the guys. Now the board guys started laughing.
Yeah.
They couldn't even grill the guy because now I was there. Suddenly, nikamwambia, I don't think I'm leaving this chair because the next player umeniita pia ameni request nikwe kwa hii hearing.
Yeah.
The next guy comes in, mi bado niko hapo. Suddenly they realize there's nothing they are doing. Kidogo, even before they had finished grilling I think the second or third player, the coach walks in. Namkos akaingia ndani. Akawaambia, what is this? You did not tell me there'll be a hearing for this. And if there's anybody to blame, it is me, because I'm the head of program. That's what he said. I said, if there's anything, I am the head of program and it's you, I'm the one to blame.
Right.
Because I was there when this thing was happening. So stop calling players and threatening them and doing them this and saying, you ask me. And that hearing kansoliwa hivyo. So coach took the blame. But now when coach took the blame, we were just preparing. It was just end of the series, then you go for the San Francisco World Cup. Coach akachukua blame. Coach was done what? Kicked out. Wakapatia the assistant coach, who was the Odiero. Wakampatia coach. So now when the assistant coach akakuja akatuita meeting. Akasema, now unfortunately this has happened, but now we need to go for San Francisco.
Yeah.
But now players tukasema, no. We are not going to San Francisco without Innocent. And we are not showing up for training without Innocent. Because of the fact that he just stood with us. And he knew what had happened. And he was very logical na akasema, we are standing, this is me, this is what I did.
Right.
And we stood with him. So that's what happened. And I think that's where masaibu yetu ikaanza.
And someone here is watching and just appreciating what you've said. Kenyans, Amunga Isaac, Kenyans don't really appreciate the legends we have in sports with the challenges sportsmen go through in a semi-professional ecosystem. Kudos to the guys and organizations who are giving Injera his flowers. And just in appreciation, watu wanaelewa enyewe huku ni kubaya. People don't really see the value that you bring. From that learning, utaambia corporates nini wakitaka sasa kuengage na the rugby game?
I think what happened. And the good thing is that the guys who are there then are not involved in the sports anymore.
Okay.
I think the guys that we have at the moment I believe the rugby guys, most of the directors have been former players.
Yes.
They've gone through the same challenges.
Yes.
They do understand. Even the chairman does understand. So I think what I can tell the corporates is just coming invest. I mean, if you invest in sports, I think it's the best thing that you can ever do. Because at the end of the day, you'll get that exposure, you'll get that satisfaction. And that, I think when you show value, I'm sure the corporates would come in and invest.
Yeah.
And also, of course, support from the government. I think, like you said, it's a semi-professional environment, yes, but not that we can't make it to a professional environment. We've done it before, and we've done it with this semi-professional approach. But I think there was a point where we almost knocked it off and become professional, because now most of the team were playing the sport, were playing rugby, were doing things. And I believe if we get good investment and we get good, structures in place and accountability for it, I think we'll be in a good place, because that's all that's needed.
Tell me who you credit for your success over the years, the 17 years you were actively in the international rugby. Unapea nani shukran? Wachana na the coaches. You've already spoken about the coaches in your personal life.
I wouldn't say I would pinpoint it to one person.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it different people at different times, because I started as a very young man. At that time, of course, I was looking up to my brother, Humphrey. He was really encouraging me. He was criticizing me. And sometimes we don't take criticism well from our family members.
Yep.
But at that time, he was doing it, and I used to listen. Yep. Sometimes we'd had a fight. Sometimes we are okay. We come and realize this is happening. I would credit to him as I was starting. Of course, my parents for always supporting. They've never at no single day told me, wachana na hii kitu. Yeah. As much as they fought it in high school, but they came and realized, this guy can actually be something in this thing. So they've always supported me. At least I've never had that kind of resentment from them because of playing the sport. Or challenge. And the reason is because I think they saw Humphrey doing it. And of course, my dad is that guy who loves logical thinking. So he understands. As much as yeye anapenda kitabu, Mr. Professor anapenda kitabu sana, he still understands that if it's logical, if it makes sense, then we'll go with it. Right. And of course, my mother has all throughout been there. My immediate family has been there. But now it changed. Now, as I was growing, I started finding my own family. That's when I met my wife, had my daughter. And you see now priorities start changing. And family has been that thing that has really been driving me. I mean, you work, I'm doing it for these people. I have to show a good example. And I think they've gone through so much sacrifices for me to achieve the things that I've done. I think, of course, the times I'm away, the many nights that they've spent alone, the mornings that I always wake up at 5 and head out. I think family has really been there for me, and they've supported me. They always watch the games. And I can credit to my family as well and the wife.
Unaweza sema nini ilikuwa the biggest sacrifice in those years?
I missed my daughter's birth.
The firstborn?
Yes. I missed my firstborn's birth.
Wow.
And of course, that one has never sat well with me. Of course, I was a young man that time. I really wanted to go out there and do my things. I was praying. I just used to hear stories. Inaweza kuja mapema, ama inaweza chelewa. And it happened when I was away. I was in Las Vegas. Oof. She had waited, I think she was past a week. So I was in Las Vegas. Imagine that Saturday morning as I'm going to the field. That's when I wake up to, that time by the way it was Facebook. And nimetumiwa message picture.
I'm doing.
And iliniguza hiyo. But it happened.
But you went on and played.
I'm just glad. I hope my wife recovered from it. I hope I've done much good for me.
She gave you 2 more children.
Exactly. Hopefully.
Your wife.
Which I've never missed, by the way. I've been done in delivery room.
Hey, hats off to Chebet it is.
Yes.
Hats off to you for the support that you've been to Collins Injera. We thank you as a nation as well, because kama nyumbani ya kuko saa haezi cheza, haezi focus. Ni nini coach yoyote ule amai kuambia and it changed, it just tilted your focus in a game and you went on to change the scoreline?
I'd say Paul True. and it's a quote, and I've always used that quote. Maybe hata umeisikia kwa social media nimeiweka, because that is the one that flipped everything. And it says it's never about the opportunity of a lifetime. It's about the lifetime of that opportunity. You too. So when you hear everyone says, hey, by the nilipata hiyo opportunity, sasa nitaipata ingine. I came to understand opportunities will always come. They will always be there.
Yeah.
So it's never about those ones. It's about when it came, what did you do with it? It's the lifetime. There are some which will come, will even last like a second. There are some that last 2-3 months, that opportunity. So what do you do on that lifetime when it came?
Wow.
Did you act on it? Did you do it? Will you ignore? Instead of just saying, aye. Because if you say that, you have that losing mentality. That, that was the opportunity of a lifetime. Ushajikas.
Yeah.
That means you'll never get another one. And they came to understand, and I'm even applying it in life. There's some things will come, they will go, you'll just understand that wasn't meant for me. As much as it was a good opportunity, I can't say it was the lifetime. But other thing will come, and you'll pick it, and you end up doing other things.
And I'll say you definitely seized the opportunity on the rugby pitch, whether locally or international, and we thank you for that. Now there's more to life, as it appears. Yes, we'll still see your hand on the pitch through your responsibility now with Mwamba. You're now part of the
coaching staff,
team.
Yeah.
So what other opportunities are you now looking into? What are you up to?
Of course, like I told you, retirement is not an easy decision to make. Now it's 4 months down.
Yeah.
There are opportunities that have come up. There are some which have gone. There are some which are still in play. There are some which are coming up. And I think I'd say I have continued to stay in rugby through the coaching bit. Like you saw in my retirement message, I'm involved with a company called Avanti Communications.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a bit of consultancy for them, and which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing consultancy in terms of PR, marketing. So it's consultancy stroke ambassadorship work. So ambassadorship, kanafaa nikunywe maji.
Kunywa maji bro. Maji ni bure.
Anyway, ambassadorship in terms of what they do, because it's a satellite company, satellite communications company, sorry. And what they do is they have they go to these rural places, these schools that are very interior, where there are no network, there's nothing, and they set up labs.
Yeah.
Computer labs. They help the kids in e-learning. They have this kind of syllabus that they set up in their system that kids can go through and learn. So basically a kid can learn uko Kajiado, uko interior learns something that a kid in the UK is doing the same on that same curricula.
Right.
And you see, that is what I do. I go there. Sometimes I travel with them to those schools. End up talking to the kids, just telling them what life is about.
Yeah.
Explaining the importance of education as much as you're chasing your other career. Just basically ambassadorship work with that.
Right.
I'm also involved in UNHCR through the Luku Luku movement. The Luku Luku movement is a campaign of refugees. I mean, trying to sensitize the public and spreading the words on how people who have been displaced across Africa are handling it, and how they can support the UNHCR, the Luku Luku movement. And so far, that's the humanitarian bit of it that I've been doing, as you saw in the statement that I made.
Yes.
And of course, I'm still doing my farming.
Farming?
Yeah. I'm doing mboga kienyeji. By the way, you should order mboga at Injera's mboga kienyeji. This is me marketing.
It's okay, you can plug. It's okay, you can plug.
Injera's mboga kienyeji on Instagram or
Miaka
Facebook.
mingapi sasa? Mboga kienyeji?
2 years, I think.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
And besides that, you mentioned some other farming.
And besides that, I've been doing pig farming since 2016. I started in 2016.
Wow.
That's when I had quit my formal PR job.
Yes.
Of course, because that time I quit it because I was chasing my Olympic dream. And there was a lot of things. The time that I was supposed to spend with the team could not allow me to still do my day job.
Yeah.
And my day job, I had to take a unpaid leave, but never gone back.
Right.
Simple because I focused on rugby, 2016 Olympics, then continued. At least what I was getting from the pitch was kind of sustainable. I went into pig farming in 2016. Going on well. 2020, COVID hit, like everyone. I slackened a bit, but now it's when it's starting, even the market is starting to pick up.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I'm doing at the
What's
moment.
this with golfing, man? Hapo ndo wasio wamepenya ama ni nini? Niambie
And I
si.
think golf was because I needed somewhere else to take the testosterone.
Really? Do you really expend that much energy?
I thought, let me tell you, 2020, good man.
Yeah.
How did you know?
We'll get to that. Yes. yes.
Well
We've
done.
gotten into another opportunity that he sees.
Yes,
You'll see
now
it.
you
You'll see it
now
in camera.
They brought here a nice black label.
Yeah. Unatembea na Johnny.
That's part of the opportunity that I'm also doing a bit of influencership work for some brands.
Yes.
I've been working with EABL, Johnny Walker, for quite some time now.
Well done.
And
Well
other brands that have come and I've worked with them.
Oh, so you're saying golf at the expend testosterone?
No, golf actually happened in 2020.
Yeah, but
I think it's been like 2.5 or 3 years.
na nimeona Ombachi akijaribu baadhi ana hata hizo vitu lakini anajua Ombachi, shout out to Ombachi.
Ombachi atarealize hiyo kitu si nguvu, atakuwa sawa. Na
Anaweka sembe hapo.
Relax tu kidogo. I think even for me it happened.
Yeah.
2020 I remember when COVID happened. Of course you couldn't go to the gym.
Yes.
All you could do is just jog around the compound, jog around. And I got tired of that. But now I could see my fellow former teammates, the likes of Lavin, Humphrey, George Mbaye. I'm at home, I see them posting, hey, they're enjoying, they're playing golf.
Yeah.
And that's when I called my bro, told him, hey, me, I need to pick up this thing.
Yeah.
When is the next one? I can, yeah, this Saturday we are going. I'm there. I don't even have any kit. I had nothing. I just wear my funny shorts, cargo, sport shoe, and I'm out of the house.
Right.
I went to golf. I think the first time I grabbed that club, hit a ball, and I said, hey, where have you been all my life?
Wow.
But then I thought it was easy. Let me tell you, I think golf is the toughest sport anyone would ever play.
This is from a rugby champion and legend.
I'm not even lying to you.
Kutembea
Because niwe peke yako, you are the ref, you are the fan, you have to talk to yourself. You don't have a teammate akusaidie kama umechupa pass mbaya.
Kuna kadi anakonda.
Kadi haiwezi kusaidia. Kwani wewe ni professional, kadi inakusaidia. Kadi inakubebea bag, una deal na yeye kumaliza. It is tough. I won't even lie.
Wow.
And I came to tell myself, I wish I had started it earlier when I was still playing, because in terms of mental toughness, it has really helped me. It has really helped me in mental, that self-talk. Of course, I used to have it, but I never knew I'd really need it in golf.
Right.
Because you hit a bad shot, you get frustrated, you go with that frustration onto the next shot, you hit another bad shot, and it keeps whipping you. Haitakusamea until the time you just say, it's okay, umeshinda. That's when you hit a shot and say, so this thing, it works. And the challenge is you relaxing, you having that focus through and through after every shot, after shot, after shot. And the mental bit is just crazy.
So you're not going.
That's how I got into it.
You're not going pro. You're just, this is for you. It's your space.
Of course, when you start 1 year, 2 years, you say, hey, kitu naweza ichukua pro.
It's a different ball game.
It's a different ball
Quite
game.
literally.
So you can decide, I'll use it as my kind of being active, kind of sport that I'll be involved in. And I know I can even play it till I'm 70 uko.
Yes.
So I'll still do it. And the good thing about golf, it neutralizes everyone. Whether you are a 0 handicapper, you are a 28 handicapper, it levels everyone, and you play.
We should consider.
Yeah, I'm
Brayo producer, umesikia? Yeah.
So it's worth it. I won't even lie to you. Even me, when I went in, I used to think this thing is only for the people who've made it.
Mapedo. Yeah.
But not really. I think if you plan yourself well, you can be able to do it. I think sometimes even the initial cost, it's what is very on getting the equipments and all that. But once you get the hang of it, because now you meet other people like you talk to people, you get to network, and I think the benefit it comes with, it's a lot. Because you just go into the tee box, you don't even know who you will meet. Suddenly you're playing with the CEO of which company. You're playing with a guy who was a caddy, now he's a pro. So, it just neutralizes everything.
And because you're from a game that was very intensive physically, that's rugby. Unapiga tizi bado? Is that part of your routine still? Because unaweza legea, someone might.
No, I really wanted to come out of that routine because I've done it for 17 years.
Yeah.
For me, I just wanted to first of all win myself out. For lack of a better word, nisema nataka tu kuwa unfit ile proper.
Like utambi nini
Ikuje, alafu sasa I work towards something.
Okay. No.
But now,
yeah.
of course, I've done that. I think the last time I only started training, not even active training, coaching this month. And you see, when I started coaching now is when now the boys are doing their runs. Now I just join kidogo and do a bit of run, but I haven't gone back into fully proper gym running kind of regime training.
Okay.
And this has been since December last year. That's the last time I trained.
Wow.
So January, February, March, April, May ndo nimeanza.
Eating life with a big spoon. Speaking of eating life, and nothing theatic, sababu weni lunje, lakini I've noticed in your socials, umekuwa ukifanya some videos nika unataka kuingia hiyo space ya Ombachi, you're done. Ile sijui una chop nini. Are you opening a cooking channel?
I think for me, I've always been posting ever since. And how I got into it, I used to post the end product. And then there was a comment, I'll never forget. There was a comment on my page. Mtu akaandika akasema, wewe una buy food alafu unaweka kwa plate. Unatuonesha. You see, nikasema, so people actually think I can't cook. Because me, I've been cooking ever since.
Yeah.
Ever since. And even if you go to my Instagram, you'd see from way back. I used to cook from way back. Stories, nini. I used to cook. So nikaanza tu pole pole showing the process. And when I started doing it, suddenly it built some momentum. I didn't even know it would be something big. It build momentum kidogo. Suddenly unasikia a product inakuja nasema, hey, just want you to display this, we'll give you this kind of money. Hey, I'm excited. Nasema, later. Sinikupika tu me, I'm doing my own things.
Yeah, I do it anyway.
I used to do it even without being paid. I used to post those products.
Yeah.
But now when you come and realize it's actually a business or a career, now you start being careful of the products unaweka. And I think for Mbachi it worked out well for him. Even him, he had started I think he started with his blog, which was We Men Should Cook. I think he was into baking a lot. Then akaanza pole pole, cooking, he invested. Now even when he used to travel, he used to get those cameras, nini. He started early, he had to invest. Me, I have not invested properly. Yeah, I'm invest. And suddenly it became a thing. Suddenly corporates are coming, we need you to do this. You're getting influencership deals. And kasema,
why not?
Why not? I think it's something that I'm already doing. And I love doing because I love cooking.
Na naona maneno mapocho hapa manze, kweli unajua kupika.
Nikajaribu, unajua kuja hiyo ndo ukiwa kwa familia vijana watatu na madam kali. Na mtaka kula mtapika. That's where now I started learning how to cook. But then nimekuwa nikijua, I've always been watching cooking shows. So
you cook for your wife and 3 kids.
I love it. And even my wife loves cooking as well. It's not that she doesn't cook, by the way. People have this misconception that she just chills and not cook. She cooks as well. And sometimes we even challenge each other kwa nyumba. Anapika hii leo, mimi napika hii, then now we have our very honest judges, the kids.
Na watu hawezi kudanganya.
Gani tabu. And we know. So it's something that I've loved doing. And watching cooking shows. Na hizo. So these recipes, you just get them from anywhere.
Would you consider collabo with Ombachi? Because you're on your channel.
Yeah, we've actually considered it. There's a time we were just this close to launching a show.
This close. Now, Sabile could happen. Would you do your own? You have the time now.
I think it's something that we would consider probably one of these fine days.
You
never know. Maybe we're in talks. Maybe you're not in talks. So
there's a trend of people saying things on the show, and then a few weeks later we see it manifesting.
Let's hope it's a trend.
I mean, it would be great. It would be great to see that.
Yeah, but I think for him, he's really doing good for himself.
Oh yes,
which is
and he was right there in that same spot.
He's actually from sports and showing guys that you can actually make something out of something else that you hadn't even gone to school for. It's such a big inspiration.
I mean, and
kudos to him.
And you can, kudos to you, Ombachi, and you can tell those who are actually leaving active sports and even changing their careers. You know, life will change. I'm into something else. I also dabbled into acting. Utaniona soon, mahali. And I feel that I actually should have done it earlier. And life is an act. So
that's always the issue. You always think that I would have done this earlier.
Yeah.
Hata mimi nasema mbona influencing si kuanza mapema.
Yes.
But you come to realize that without that, you wouldn't have been in this space. You needed that to happen so that you can now be in this space that you are in at the moment.
So as you cook up something there ukituwekea, because when unafunzwa how to, ndio hizo glasses hapa, maybe they're not the professional. Oh, unakuaga na tot glass.
We have to do it properly.
Okay. Italetwa.
You have to measure. I mean, at the end of the day, we promote responsible drinking.
Hapo. Acha nisome kitu hapa. Eda Waithaka says, tuned in. It's great listening to Collins. Truly, he is a legend in rugby. Jesse Leslie tuned in. The legends inspired me during my high school and primary days in rugby. Respect to them. Kuna kitu ingine ulisema, and you were talking, I think you were on a different Engage, and you talked about, it's good to set goals. Go for it. But focus on the process.
Yeah.
Is that like a life outlook you apply that has really guided you, or what is your main thing
Definitely.
in life?
It's a life outlook that I apply. When I say focus on the process, because I believe everybody has a goal. You have that main goal that you have to chase. But you can't just wake up one day and say, naikimbilia. There are things you need to be doing consistently well for you to be able to get to that goal. Those mini goals, I call them mini goals. As much as you have the main goal, like you see for us, it's, if you're a rugby player, you'd say, I want to win the tournament. Okay, that is the main goal. But now what are the mini goals? You have to show up consistently for training. You have to discipline enough to get your recovery right. You have to make sure every time you're stepping onto that field, you have to better yourself. Everything that you do, make sure it's getting better and better. You go to a tournament, focus on that one first game. You win that. You go to the second one, focus on it, you win that. So there are those simple process that you have to really put your head into it. Because if you don't put your head into that process, then it will be very difficult for you to get that main goal.
You're the second highest scorer for tries internationally, 279 tries.
Yeah.
It took you 9 years to get to that. What were the mini goals to get to that?
I tell you, it wasn't easy. At some point, looking at a place you want to give up. So the mini goals for that, number one, when I played, I never even wanted to be a top try scorer, to be honest.
Okay.
But the first time I was Dubai, I remember 2009, Dubai. I was the top try scorer in Dubai, the tournament itself, I think with 9 or 10 tries. Nika realize, Allah, this thing, I can do it. And that's when nikasema, by this season, let me see if I can keep up this pace.
Yeah.
What if happens, Nikule 10-10, that time I think we're playing 8 tournaments. Nikule 10-10, kila tournament, how many tries are those? Those are like 8 huko. But of course, that's you're just speaking.
Yeah.
Coming from Dubai, nikaenda South Africa. I ended up scoring 2 tries in that tournament. Then nika realize, as much as unasema you think it's easy, it won't be easy.
Yeah.
So suddenly 2 tournaments, hapo sijui number 2 kwa tries. I went to the other tournament, nikaingia top. The other one, nikaingia top. So nika realize you don't even have to score 10 tries. You just need like 4 per tournament or 5. So for me, those were the mini goals. I just have to make sure at least kwa tournament I'm scoring. I'm chasing that being the end of the season tournament top try scorer. And it happened. I became the top try scorer in the tournament. And there's a media guy can uliza, so what do you want? Nikasema I want to be the top try scorer in the world.
Were you just saying that ama ulikuwa ushaamua?
Nilikuwa nasema, and he laughed. And even me, of course, you are doubting yourself because you are coming from Kenya. You think that you can't do it. Yeah. You're doubting yourself. Ndio unasema, but you're doubting. Because at that time, it was already set at 230 tries. So Gomez scorer was 230. That was the highest. So nikasema, at that time, nimemaliza na 42 tries. So niko na 42. Ukiminus 230 hizo ni ngapi? You have to play for how many seasons? But gladly enough, season after season, I never became top again after a season. I was just somewhere there. Either number 3, top 5, unaona? Hapo number 2. So I used to linger to mahali hapo.
Yeah.
And I knew if I continue doing this, the main goal will come. And I kept doing it. Suddenly, kafika 9 years later, it happened in 2016? When I scored the try, and it was a special moment for me. I'll always see that moment as one of the very, very special moments. Because now finally you get to this place that you've achieved the goal that you had set for yourself. But now once you do that, there's also another challenge. What next?
Yeah.
You've achieved it, so what next? I think that's when, for me, I decided my next step now is to make sure the younger guys are coming up properly with proper structures for even them to, as much as I'm continuing to adding to my tally, my next press is the mentorship of these young boys. And I got it at some point, and sometimes to some point I didn't kind of get it, and that's why I'm back in the club level to just make sure at least the young guys are starting to get the right structures and the right mental.
Sisemi mini prophet na hizi si stories za jaba, lakini naona ukiweka kozwendo maestro hapo. Sisemi mini prophet, but with your impressive career in rugby and the knowledge that you have, the international the international appreciation that people have for you. I see you managing the national team, the Shujaz, very soon. You've started off well for Mwamba, Mungu akijalia. And as you've said, it's not about focusing just on the goals, but the process to get into those goals. So he's doing in a good way to sign the and I think tumeongezea waiter wetu ametuletea.
Do you take yours with soda?
You tell me.
Let me show you the best.
Maji.
Kidogo tu to unlock the flavors.
Yes.
You take it neat.
This is
just a little bit to unlock the flavors.
I know Dennis Okari is regretting not coming on the show because you've missed out on this.
This is to him for missing out.
To him and to you, really, for the next phase that you are going into with what you have been doing over the years and what you have in store for the career, because it's still at your heart and you still have a lot to give. And I know the people, decision makers, have been watching and are listening. Call him. He'll have a lot to tell you. Ukipigiwa bro, nipigie.
Nikupigie. Lazima ni the newsroom, lazima the social newsroom.
The social newsroom. Yes, and we really appreciate the time that you've given us. And we also today we had two ladies who they saw it was you. They had to come see Town Hall. Like wamekuja, Ida as well as Faith Ann. Back then they've sat through it all. We say cheers to you too. And cheers to the team, our waiter right here. And, and the team, Dushi, Sani, back behind there on the sound, as well as Doris. Kuna ndume moja fulani hapo sijui nani because ameblokiwa. Asanteni sana. Oh, that is Brian. Thank you so much. We have Brian on the team now, producing as well, so you'll be seeing a lot of magic going on the social newsroom. We say cheers. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a good night.
Thank you very much.
Na chapa bottoms up ama
Hapana.
Okay, gentlemen.
Responsible drinking.
Okay.
Test.
Ni vile sani machache.
Unajua tungeendelea hii story hata ingeisha saa hii.
Kabisa. Good night, guys. Hey, good one, Dan.
Thanks.
Thank you for bringing this on set.
Well done. This is a good send off now.